It's the man, the myth, the legend with the long face and the skinny body. Byakugou 3 was good in YouTube. We finna get right down to business today.
Damn, Mizzy Mari got beat.
Alright, y'all. In this video, I kind of wanted to switch it up. Originally, the next video I planned to upload deal focus more on Jigen and the Kara and a whole lot of other stuff, but there's like a whole lot going on in the social media world. Everybody's just talking about it right now, so I'm gonna save that video for another time, and maybe I'll get even much better details in it as I wait, because I've been researching and doing a whole lot of stuff. Because honestly, the latest Boruto chapter 35 was just so wild. It has everybody like on the edge. It has people even like, yo, trying to pick up the Boruto manga. I'm telling y'all, if you haven't started it and you're just waiting for the anime to get good, pick up the manga, because it is definitely good, if anything. But this video, we will be focusing on Lady Tsunade's 100 healing seals, or what is it, like the Katsuya seal or something like that. You know, there's a whole lot of things we're gonna be able to get into about that, because something that they mentioned and they keyed on in chapter 35 of the manga was how that the seal itself resembled the karma seal that both Boruto and Kawaki have, and that's something that Sarada noted. And it's something that was easily overlooked, because even after introducing the karma seal in the Boruto manga and even in the anime, I never once considered it, or the thought never once even came across my mind about how they're both diamond seals and they're very similar. Even the design when Tsunade or even Sakura activates the seal is a whole lot of interesting things that we could go into that. Now, one of the most key things we take out of the chapter in the whole little scene with, you know, Mitsuki, Sarada, Naruto, and Boruto and Kawaki all talking is that, you know, they mention how there's similarities between the seal on Tsunade and Sakura's forehead and Boruto and Kawaki's hand. Now, what they're really doing is splitting up. You know, Sarada's gonna ask Sakura everything that she knows about the seal, because she's had it for so long at this point. And Boruto and Mitsuki are on their own little mini mission to go find out more about the seal from Lady Tsunade. Now, the interesting thing is that even back in like Naruto Part 1 and even in Shippuden, we got like, you know, introduced to the seal and a whole lot of the cool effects that it has, but we never really went deep into like a whole lot of intel or information about it. And, you know, Boruto as like a world, it's focusing more on like, you know, otherworldly aspects and sealing jutsus. You know how Naruto really pinpointed and focused on, you know, like in Prime Naruto, some of the biggest things that they really focused on was like, you know, summoning jutsus, and of course, you know, all of the QBs, the Biju, the Ten Tails, obviously, things like that. And they focused on jutsus like around that aspect. And in Boruto, they're opening up the world for like, you know, more sealing jutsus, obviously something that the Uzumaki clan specialized in, and their relation to the Senju clan, which is where Tsunade is from, being the last living Senju. So there's a whole lot of interesting things we could get into, you know, a whole lot of potential world building and unleft plot holes that were just left alone in Naruto Shippuden that they can, you know, reopen in the Boruto world and get a better explanation on. And my best bet is that this, you know, Byakugou seal has some type of like deep connection to the karma seal, because Mitsuki stated something that's very interesting. We all know that Orochimaru is a very sneaky guy. He likes to get intel. His goal is to, you know, acquire all the jutsu in the world in order to know all the jutsu in the world and basically everything about them. And he says that there's still a long history about the Byakugou seal that is unknown to, you know, the shinobi history, and that can be the key factor there, being that, you know, karma is very much closely related to the Otsutsuki clan. It's basically derived from the Otsutsuki clan being the basis of transferring power or absorbing power, you know, going by the clan's tradition, because, you know, Momoshiki really gave us the basis of that whole aspect when he came onto Earth, explaining, you know, the power differences between the Otsutsukis and the shinobis that were on world. Now, the thing is, with this Hyakugou seal, we know the capabilities that it has are very interesting, and I feel like it kind of, hints at basically the debut of the Karma seal. I feel like what maybe Kodachi did, or even Kishimoto originally had this plan but didn't just know how to go about it in Naruto Shippuden after bringing in Kaguya, but maybe they somehow basically got the idea of the Karma seal from, this Hyakugou seal and planned to connect it sometime in the Boruto future. Now, the thing is, with this seal, the basic, abilities of it is basically, it's just like a spam to store mad reserves of chakra. That's basically all it does. You know what I'm saying? Well, not really basically all it does, but even Naruto goes a little bit into explanation of how the one on Tsunade's stone face stores a vast amounts of chakra little by little every day, and at one point it's used as like a trump card, to help protect the village at any time being, because it stores a vast amounts of chakra, and we've seen the positive effects it has. Basically, like, you don't have to waste energy when you have this seal. There's so many gags that come with it, and it's very great for medical ninjutsu as well, as we've seen when they could summon Katsuyu, the little healing slug. And it's just a whole lot of stuff that goes into this that's like basically like easy to overlook, when going from the creation rebirth, the ninja art creation rebirth, and the 100 healing technique. It's just crazy how we never really looked at how otherworldly, despite chakra in itself being amazing, but how otherworldly this seal really is that Tsunade and Sakura both have. And my best bet is that the unknown information about the seal is somehow linked to the Otsutsuki clan. Now, if that would be the case, that would be very, very amazing, and that automatically puts a huge pause in the brace, like, whoa. So, like, all of a sudden, it's like the Boruto writers are trying to redeem Sakura and just make her useful out of nowhere. Like, let's not get too ahead of ourselves, guys. Sakura wasn't always completely useless. She gets a lot of hate, honestly, and I can for one say that I am partially responsible for giving her some of that hate, but still, you got to recognize her for like some of the cool things and cool capabilities that she has. Now, if it is true that this Hyakugou seal is somehow connected to the Karma seal, is a whole lot of information that we're just gonna have to go deep into, because chapter 36, we're expecting Boruto and Mitsuki to encounter Lady Tsunade. And if indeed, in fact, it would be pretty weird if Tsunade just somehow randomly has all of the intel or information that about her Hyakugou seal, and they show no hints or signs of her knowing like everything about it throughout Shippuden. Like, she just never mentions anything about it, and she somehow says like, yeah, it's connected to the Otsutsuki clan. That would be pretty weird, I think, and honestly bad writing, because they have no background information to fall back on, or no proof, unless I'm mistaken. You guys can correct me in the comments. No proof in part 1 Naruto or Shippuden of Lady Tsunade knowing about all the truths of the seal that she has. But if there is a case where she does know key, like a good amount of vital information about the seal that she just hasn't shared, it would be very crucial for her to give that information to Boruto and Mitsuki, which is why they're on this mission in the first place, in order to gather as much information as possible about this Karma seal, knowing it deals with the connections to the Otsutsuki clan, and somehow it can be the key weakness to defeating Jigen. Now, what's interesting is that, aside from, the connections of the Hyakugou seal and the Karma seal, Mitsuki says something interesting, telling Boruto, even if they get through all of this, it doesn't necessarily mean that the seal will be removed from Boruto. And Boruto does something pretty interesting that obviously fits in alignment with his character, basically brushing it to the side and being like, when just push comes to shove, like, just go with the flow and everything will work out how it's supposed to work out eventually. Like, let's just not talk about it. And kind of, I can kind of relate to Boruto in that aspect, which I guess you can say is a good and bad thing. Whereas when it comes to dire situations, it comes to a point where it's just like, let's just focus on the moment rather than what's going to happen. We get by the moment, then each step would just become a stepping stone, and we'll go from there. So I can kind of see the perspective that Boruto is looking from. But still, there's a whole lot of interesting things we can go about. Like I said, this seal is pretty interesting. Like, they both have the diamond marks. So there has to be some type of connection. And even, you know, the markings, when it spreads across like Tsunade's body and Sakura's body, you can see there can, like, it's some type of similarity to how the karma spreads around both Boruto and Kawaki. And there's a whole lot of seals, like I stated in my earlier videos, there's a whole lot of seals or markings of the karma, I guess you could say, or maybe there are different types of seals. The Kara organization did study, you know, remember back like a couple of chapters ago, it's like over a year and a half ago, when they were first introduced, one of the biggest things that everybody was talking about, how they had a picture of all of these seals on the wall, and you know, only a few of the markings resembled the ones that both Boruto and Kawaki share, running across their body, up their arm. You know, I don't think Tsunade and Sakura's seal completely resembles those, but you know, the design and basically, I guess you could say, the basic aspect of the design and the markings are kind of similar in a sense. So there can definitely be some huge key connections. And if that is the case, it could be, whereas, you know, Tsunade and Sakura seal is like, you know, a watered down version of the Karma seal, where it only has some of the abilities that the Karma seal has. Because if you look at the connections, Byakugou seal is able to, you know, collect and store chakra, and the user is able to release it, you know, applying that chakra as their own, you know, enhancing their abilities. Basically, that's the buff that Tsunade and Sakura have. And we know that one of the abilities that come with Karma Seal that both Kawaki and Boruto have is that they are able to absorb ninjutsu and be able to, well, we haven't seen Boruto do this yet, but we have seen Kawaki able to, you know, release the jutsu back twice as powerful. Now, absorbing ninjutsu and storing chakra is not exactly the same thing necessarily, but they can be connected in many different aspects, and they are slightly similar in the sense of they both deal with absorption, or, you know, taking in power and using it as one's own. So that could be like one key connection there. It was just a little something I thought about. Guys, let me know what you think. It's your boy Byakugou. I wasn't trying to make this video too long. I got a whole lot more I want to talk about. So holla at your boy. I'm going to holla at y'all. Leave a comment below. Like, comment, subscribe. It's your boy Byakugou. Byakugou out.